Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the latest Merxin podcast. You might notice things look a little bit different today. Philippe is sitting in the hot seat for a change, and today I'm going to be asking Philippe about Merxin, past, present, and future. I think it's fair to say. As you will all know, Philippe, co-founder and chief business officer of Merxin, very well known in the industry. And I think everybody knows Merxin by name, but not all the details. So I'm hoping over the course of this podcast, we'll learn a little bit more about the details of Merxin and how you see the company evolving from here. So welcome, Philippe. It's very nice to see you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for agreeing to swap the roles. So, as you said, I'll be the interviewee for a change. So it'll be quite fun to. I wonder what questions you're going to launch at me. Yes, I thought it was. I thought I would inverse the roles for a change because we've talked a lot about external people and looking at the industry. But I'm also aware that in the last 10 years, although we communicate through our newsletter and then the websites and LinkedIn, maybe there are things that people don't know about Merxin, or there are some misconceptions and some excitements that we've kept very quiet for a number of reasons, mostly lack of time, I suppose. And because in December last year, we celebrated our 10th anniversary, I thought it probably is time to get to quiz Merxin, who we are and what we do. So thank you for playing that game with me today.
You're very welcome, Philippe. And you mentioned one of the things I was going to start with, which this last few months have been a really busy time for Merxin. It doesn't seem 2 minutes since we're in Edinburgh having nice cakes to celebrate
Mountain, in fact, it was
the
a
mountain
pyramid.
of cake to celebrate the 10th anniversary. You've had a very prestigious award awarded to Merxin just recently, and I'm sure we'll touch on that. And we're on the eve of SMI London, the conference now that has really become very well known as a leading vehicle for people who are interested in all aspects of soft mist inhalers. So we're looking forward to that conference. So let's start at the beginning, Philippe. 10 years ago has gone in the blink of an eye. Tell us about how Merxin started, how you had that vision, and the early days of Merxin and how it's grown to become the organization that it is today.
So if you look on Companies House in the UK, you will see that our founding date, our incorporation date, is December 2015. But in fact, Merxin starts a year before. DDL, December 2014, I'm there as a consultant at DDL, and I bumped into Graham Perkins, with whom I've founded Merxin. I said, Graham, there is a need for the generic markets to have devices ready to be used for formulations. The idea at the time was, of course, how to make a generic Advair discus. And so why don't we supply that? Why don't we think about how we're going to support the generic industry? Because that's where the excitement is. And he said yes. It took us a year of thinking about how we were going to do it, finding the skills, understanding the market, putting a business plan together. But essentially, we founded the company in 2015. And you're right, 10 years. 10 years of sheer excitement and a lot of hard work. And here we are.
Excellent, and what a story! And perhaps you could say about the way that you've managed to drive that growth and fund that growth, because I guess Merxin is really quite unusual in its sector. How has Merxin gone through that growth phase over the last 10 years?
So of course, so we are bootstrapped. So it's Graham and I. We put our money down and developed the ideas and the skills and the drawings, and eventually look for customers. And we're very lucky to find our first customer who gave us the challenge. Okay, can you match the originator in vitro? And since then, we've never had to raise any funds. So it's all through our efforts that we've been able to sustain and grow Merxin. We've been extremely talented, clever, lucky. Those three adjectives, certainly.
Yeah.
to be able to find customers for each one of our creations. So we start with MRX001, Advocacy. We arrive a bit too late, so it's not a museum piece. It works very well. We sent it to the FDA. They agreed it was a good match for generic to the originator. But we had to retire it when we realized, well, we arrived too late. We created Merxin slightly behind the beat. We didn't know that. But certainly with MRX003, MRX004, and MRX006, we were on time. And we've been able to find customers for the generic market for those three devices in the US and Europe. And that's what has fueled our growth, essentially, and sustained us, which is very different from what other companies do. They tend to have very rich parents who pump in a lot of money, or venture capitalists. For us, it has been a very, very different journey, totally organic, based on the efforts of our team and Graham and myself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's a great achievement, but I guess you've had that flexibility to set your own destiny and to grow the organization in the way that you wanted. There are a couple of things in your response there that I'd like to probe into in a bit more detail. One being around collaborations and customers, and the other one, the focus on generics and what comes next. But let's talk about collaborations, and it's something that I've noticed as I've got to know Merxin more over this last 6 months or so, is that the depth and breadth of Merxin is really quite impressive. But when you're looking from the outside, it can be quite difficult to see that. So perhaps you could maybe just move the curtain back a little bit, just to give the audience a feel for some of the collaborations and successes that you have had along the way.
Okay, yes. You're right to point that we are very coy, mostly because since we don't have shareholders and we're not publicly listed, we don't have to make announcement like some of our competitors have to.
Mhm.
So why waste time on that? We know where our success is, and we can simply plow on with creating more of it. So the collaborations, I'm going to hit at them because we obviously have confidential
Of
agreements, so I
course.
can't always mention them. And the collaboration that is public with MRX003,
Mhm.
which is generic tiotropium dry powder inhaler. So that's what really um, convinced us we were doing the right things with our
Mhm.
first generic capsule inhaler. The next one we thought we would do would be, again, based on tiotropium. How about we do a softness inhaler? And that was clearly, we came at the right time. MRX004 was born.
Mhm.
We never revealed who our partner is, so I'm not going to mention it.
Yeah.
But we did reveal that we're working closely with Uxler, for
Mhm.
instance, for the manufacturing, which is a badge of quality,
Yeah.
if ever there is one. For 003, it's well known we work with Gerresheimer, which is, again, a beautiful outfit for quality
Mhm.
and robustness and speed, because clearly those manufacturers know what they're doing. These sort of partnerships have been really instrumental in delivering quickly. The beautiful thing, what we did with MRX003, with that particular partner with the molecule, it took only 5 years from inception to actually a European marketing authorization. Uh, this is unheard of.
Very quick. Yeah.
Normally it takes much longer. I mean, everybody was fabulously talented,
Mhm.
from running the clinical trials to the formulation to us making the device. It was an extremely beautiful execution. Um, and then, so we moved on to 004. And then we've been able to make some announcements with Corixar, for instance, on lung cancer. So
Mhm.
lots of new molecules, a very different game. And then generic. Um, Again, we do have a partner, and it has been a past few years quite an exciting road. And again, we have mentioned that the FDA has seen every single one of our devices and has
Mhm.
agreed that it could be substitutable to the originator product, as long as the formulation and the clinical trials, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
are done properly and are a good match. So that has been our path. And so the curtain is being opened a little bit,
Yeah.
that we have fabulous partners. And the latest partnership we have is obviously with the Royal Society, the Fellowship of Dara,
Mhm.
who is working with us. and there will be more announcement.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. That's a really helpful insight to paint the picture
Mm.
a little bit further. So, coming on to the next thing I was pulling out of your initial comments was we've spoken a lot about generics. You did mention Corixa, which is a new type of molecule, and I know internally we've referred to Merxin 1.0, which is maximizing value as far as possible out of the generic portfolio. But Merxin is now starting to look for its next phase of growth, and how that is going to drive the business. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about Merxin 2.0.
Yes. So Maxine 1.0 is where we started 10 years ago, generics world. And then we've done it. We've been successful. I think probably the only company in the world who has three very different devices with three partnerships signed up. We're not a single device company, which is fabulous. And then we decide, okay, we have these platforms, capsule dry powder, multi-dose dry powder, soft mist inhalers. We now need to open them up beyond generics into new molecules, and that's Merxin 2.0, embracing the new molecules with all the challenges that's going to be, because that we're going to encounter. There'll be some formulation challenges, there'll be a dosing, and there'll be the inherent challenge associated with new molecules.
Hmm.
So that's what Merxin 2.0 is about.
Yeah.
The growth into with new molecules. We've announced Corixar, and there are others that we cannot announce or we don't want to announce. People have spotted we've been active in a number of fields, probably, if they follow the newsletter.
Yeah.
This is not by mistake that certain market segments are being analyzed,
Hmm.
and we know where we're driving. And so 2.0 is really about new molecules,
Yeah.
new treatments, but not limited to lung disease.
Okay.
That's important to remember that for
Hmm.
us, especially with the soft mist platform, MRX-004. And there's a beautiful world out there, that much, much beyond lung disease and therapies.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. And could there be a Merxin 3.0?
I hope so. I'm still cooking it up in my mind,
Yeah.
thinking what will be Merx in 3.0. I think we need to find the right molecule
Hmm.
and eventually see how far we can take it ourselves,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
But Merxin 3.0 could also be acquiring a completely different technology.
Okay.
Um, we've always seen that, the company start with one technology, then move on. Maybe they embrace nasal, maybe they're another type of device, or maybe something parallel, or maybe a new molecule. I don't know, but there
Yeah.
will be a 3.0. There's growth available. Yes.
Right. Fantastic. Good. And I'm going to ask every product development developer's favorite question: that if you have a new and exciting molecule, which comes first, the formulation of the device?
Oh dear, no. Okay, I'm a formulation scientist, obviously,
Yeah.
and I have a device company. Yes, I'm in love with chemistry, so of course I'm going to say the formulation, but that's complete bias.
Yeah.
But you can't have an inhalation product without a device that matches the formulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
In so many ways, talking about compatibilities, talking about performance, you have to start somewhere. So if you're a formulation chemist, okay, start by all means with your molecule
Hmm.
or your formulation, and then work with the device and adapt it. If you're a device engineer, fine, start there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then hopefully you'll get a molecule and a formulation to get married to. That's what we do at Merck. We start with a device inevitably,
Yeah.
but always we have a particularly keen eye on the formulation and bring all that knowledge to the client. So we don't do formulation development, we don't do GMP testing of aerosol performance.
Hmm.
That's not our skill. We can do it on a very small scale, but after that, there are superb CDMOs that are available to do that. But it doesn't mean we don't know anything about it. And that's what also makes us different from other device companies. We are quite willing to, with our clients, to make our network available, our knowledge available, uh, many, many decades, all over the company, all across the company, of working with formulation in devices. So yes, so Merxin is interesting because, of course, King's Lynn, where the devices happen, are going to say, I start from the device. And I'm going to say, no, 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 we start with the formulation because that's where I come from. So
Yeah.
essentially, we bring
We
both.
we end up with a happy marriage in the middle.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thinking about the respiratory space at the moment, I mean, Merckx in this last 10 years has really been an advocate for inhaled drug delivery. I think putting Merckx aside as an organization, you have your own website for the for inhalation drug delivery. We see Merckx at conferences with a strong social media presence as well, and of course, organising a conference, the SMI dot London conference. So, just tell me a little bit about that. You're clearly, a huge advocate and enthusiast for inhaled drug delivery. Tell us a little bit about that side that Merckson has really promoted over this last 10 years.
So we have the website for the company, and every kind of company has one. And then we have the LinkedIn group, which is the biggest
Hmm.
on dedicated to inhaled drug delivery. And then we have a newsletter. I think these are the important elements of our social media. All these come a bit by chance, in a
Hmm.
way. Um, Years and years ago, much before Merxin, I started the inhalation drug delivery group on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I think I was at the time, I was still in paid employment, God knows where, maybe at AstraZeneca or maybe Novartis by then.
Mm.
LinkedIn was starting, and I thought, I wonder if dot dot dot, and
Yeah.
created a group, and then it kept on growing,
Hmm.
and now I have the biggest group, and it's almost by chance, except it started with playfulness,
Yeah. Yeah.
and let's see what could happen there. And the newsletter is thanks to our marketing agency, who said, "How about you do a newsletter?" And then I think we'll be reaching our number 70 newsletter soon.
Okay.
And it has been both exciting and terribly painful every month to create a newsletter. But again, it
Hmm.
starts as a dare.
Hmm.
How about if?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it grows and it becomes structured, and it becomes something that people pay attention to. Oh, I need to correct you, by the way. It's not a newsletter, it's a love letter. People have noticed that.
And everybody knows your signature at the end
Yeah,
of
exactly, I
the
love
love
you,
letter.
which I confess it's not from me. I'm subscribed to a finance analysis newsletter, and superb analysis of markets straight from New York. And they signed the newsletter by "I love you," and I thought this is brilliant.
You're right.
I'm always reading to the end to find out if he still loves me. And I think I wonder if I could use it. Of course, I use it. So I confess I stole the idea, and I love
Right.
it. Um, and yes, it's something that a lot of people look forward to because we summarize the news of the market, science and market news, and we try to be useful, bring some insight into the market. So we receive a lot of positive feedback, which every month gives me a bit more encouragement to write another newsletter. Although I must confess, it's hard work.
I can only imagine. Yes, and SMI London is a really interesting concept because clearly a Merckson sponsored and organised event, but you really do bring together the SMI community. So you have competitors there, you have suppliers there, you have people from the pharmaceutical industry interested in soft mist inhalation. Just tell me a little bit about how the original genesis of that, and how this conference has evolved as well.
So we're talking about soft mist, and we obviously I've always been very active in organizing conferences. I was chairing Inhalation Asia. I created it in Hong Kong and China, but 10 years ago, and then eventually COVID happened, so I closed it down. And the next thing is I wanted to know what was happening in the soft mist areas,
Hmm.
soft mist inhaler field, and none of the traditional conferences were covering it well enough to my taste.
Hmm.
So um, I was writing papers, I was researching what was going on, and eventually it was suggested to me, why don't you organize an event? I thought, yes, what a good idea.
Yeah.
I know who I want to listen to. Since the topic doesn't exist in a conference, I'm going to create it. At least I
Hmm.
will invite the people I want to listen to. And hopefully I can bring along certain people, other
Yeah.
people. And that's what's happening. So we're going to have a fourth SMI London. And it's brilliant to see the community coming together, the suppliers, the competitors,
Hmm.
the clients, the people with the molecules, the people with the technology. And this year, I thought we would focus on achievement in the academic world,
Yeah. Yeah.
because in the previous years were more about education. How do you make a soft mist inhaler?
Hmm.
Where do you find the partners to go quickly when you develop a soft mist? And now this year I thought there are pockets of research across the world. Let's bring them in together and see how they spark together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen tomorrow. So I managed to get, I couldn't get everybody. Okay, not everybody was available
Hmm.
for this event. So we have two speakers from Australia, one speaker from Virginia Commonwealth University, two chairs from Italy and Turkey. We have another speaker from the Netherlands, speakers from the UK, of
Hmm.
course. I couldn't get some speakers from China. I couldn't get, sadly, some speakers from Bristol University, so
Right.
my own alma mater, unfortunately. So they have these
Yeah.
brilliant doctoral schools in aerosol science,
Yes. Yes.
involved also with pharmaceuticals and lung therapies. Unfortunately, they were not available. It clashes with another conference they have. But it's quite a lineup.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens, and I hope they create collaborations,
Yeah.
and we can invite them in a couple of years' time with more PhDs and postdocs.
Fantastic. It's always a conference that has a lot of life and a lot of energy. So I think we're all looking forward to that
Yes, yes, yes.
tomorrow. So my final question for you, Philippe, what are the achievements that you're most proud of this last 10 years?
There have been lots of events at Merxin.
Hmm.
I'm going to start. So allow me to mention more than one.
Oh, absolutely.
So in end of April, it was announced that Merxin were the recipients of the King's Awards for Enterprise in the category of innovation. And that was, it felt like an incredible warm hug.
Fantastic achievement. Yeah.
Because it's something that, it's free.
Hmm.
It's your talent that brings it along. You
Yeah.
apply for it, of course. There's no money attached to it, but it feels that, we don't win any markets, but it feels that an incredible recognition of 10 years of hard work. We have one of the most beautiful intellectual property portfolio in the industry. We've done some analysis,
Hmm.
and that's in recognition of that portfolio that we've got the award for innovation, in particular around the soft mist platform. So that's something we had applied for it, but it's not a given that you're going to win, and there's a competition, obviously, and a selection.
Hmm.
And to win it was, I was checking the website regularly, and one day I thought, oh, this is coming up to the deadline. They must have taken the decision. And that day I must have had an inspiration to get up. And the first thing I did that morning, I went on the website. And normally I would say, your application, the decision is pending, come back later. And that day it said, you've been awarded an award. I said,
Wow.
okay, I'm too early. I'm not awake. Put your glasses on.
Yeah.
And I had to check it about 3 times, logging off and logging back in. And the news were the same. I thought, oh, it must be true then. By that time, I hadn't received the email yet. It came at about lunchtime. But when I was checking at about 6:30, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And wow, I had to go and have a big
Have
cup
a
of
lie
tea
down.
before coming back to check it. So that was a tremendous pride and
Yeah.
gratitude
Yeah. Yeah.
to have been given that award. So that's the recent one. But if I were to mention one thing of what I'm very proud of, is that for a company that's entirely bootstrapped, has never borrowed money,
Hmm.
on a small team of extremely talented people, we've managed to grow over 10 years, create 3 fabulous devices, which I'm going to dare say to have the envy of our competitors.
Hmm.
And we have found partners for them is tremendous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm never grateful enough to Graham for what the team he has brought together
Hmm.
in King's Lynn, but also the BD team that we have in London,
Yeah.
and you are now part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
for having the curiosity, the energy, the endurance, tenacity to never giving up and always finding a solution, either a technical solution or a solution to find a customer,
Hmm.
and looking at new molecules. So that's quite something. I think it has been a marathon, that has been run at the speed of a sprint.
Well, congratulations. I mean, it's a absolutely fascinating story. Some really fantastic achievements that you've achieved this last 10 years. It's been fascinating pulling that curtain back a little bit just to understand really some of the successes that Merxin has enjoyed, and deservedly so, in recent years. I think looking forward to Merxin 2.0 and where that's going to take the organisation next, and who knows, even Merxin 3.0. And I think everybody who's watching this is going to be waiting with bated breath to see the social media release when you finally get to meet King Charles and receive the King's Award in person. So it's been lovely speaking to you. Thank you for your time, and here's to the next 10 years.
Thank you, Peter.
You're very welcome.